Democratic Alliance has removed MP Mark Burke from Parliament's Finance Committee a day after defending him amid growing controversy surrounding Kastelo, the fintech company he founded. DA Parliamentary Leader George Michalakis says the decision was taken as a precautionary measure to avoid any perception of a conflict of interest while the Reserve Bank investigates Kastelo over suspected exchange control violations. The company is reportedly at the center of an investigation involving transactions worth about 4 billion rand. Burke maintains that he's no longer involved in running Kastelo, and he says he resigned from the company in 2024 when he entered politics, and that his brother now runs the business. The ANC earlier calling for Parliament's Ethics Committee to investigate Burke, questioning his role on the Finance Committee, which oversees key financial institutions, including the Reserve Bank. The controversy intensified after a Gauteng High Court ruling allowed the Reserve Bank's blocking order against Kastelo to remain in place while its investigation continues. Burke denies any wrongdoing and says neither he nor Kastelo have been found guilty by a court. For further political reaction to the story, we speak to ANC Chief Whip Mdumiseni Ntuli. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. There has been developments in this particular matter, the Democratic Alliance moving to remove Mark Burke from the Finance Committee. Your reaction?
Good evening, Bongiwe, and your viewers. It was inevitable that an action will have to be taken in one way or the other. And it's not the first action taken by the DA today. They were forced not so long ago to also take an action to remove the Honorable Kola Panat from the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, because we have been very clear from the beginning that she violated her oath of office within the intelligence community. So it's the same with the Honorable Burke. It's quite clear that the crime that has been committed there, of course, which is still under an investigation, is very serious. It has serious implications for our economy. It has a huge impact to undermine economic growth in South Africa. So there was no way that they were going to act otherwise. And when we wrote to the Speaker to demand that he must be taken to the Ethics Committee, we equally copied that letter to the Democratic Alliance so that they are aware that we are very concerned about this matter and we are taking actions about it.
So is that the only cause of action that you are taking currently as far as that is concerned, or is there anything else that the ANC will be pursuing here?
It cannot be. The potential crime that has been committed here is quite serious. The ANC, and in my capacity as a chief of the ANC, I'm going to be taking this matter up with the court in the Western Cape to open a criminal case against Honorable Burke, because it's quite clear that there is more that we are yet to see in relation to the extent to which our regulations were circumvented for interests other than those of the Republic of South Africa. So we are going to take further step on this issue. The fact that he has been removed on that committee is not enough. He doesn't qualify to be a member of parliament when he engages in activities that seeks to undermine the economic growth of our country.
And I want to stay with some of that, because the Democratic Alliance, for example, says that it's in taking this decision, it was to avoid any perceptions of a conflict of interest. And Burke himself saying that he resigned from Kastelo in 2024 to pursue a political career and ceased serving as a chair of the broader group in 2026. And also saying that the High Court does not make findings of wrongdoing against himself or Kastelo. But looking at the seriousness of these allegations and how far back they go, how important will it be for a thorough probe to be conducted here?
It's very important that an investigation must be conducted, and that's the reason why, Bongiwe, I'm saying that we're going to be going to the police station in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, to open a criminal case, because what has emerged from the court proceedings in the Gauteng High Court is clearly something that must be of concern to all of us. And I don't think that is enough for them to simply say that he must be removed to avoid perceptions from the Finance Committee as well as the Appropriation Committee. Actually, if they were acting in good faith and honest, they should have removed him totally as a member of parliament, because he remains a member of parliament despite the fact that he's not going to serve in that committee. So the perception of a public representative is somebody that the public has essentially bestowed their own confidence to, acting in a way that the company represents and belongs to has acted, leaves so much to be desired. So it cannot be enough. It's not sufficient for them simply to tell us that he's no longer going to serve in that committee, but otherwise he remain a member of parliament.
In other matters, for example, the ad hoc committee, you were part of it. It's, now working to finalize its report. Where are you with that process? But also, how as a committee, I know you don't speak for the committee, but you're part of it if you're able to indulge us, how are you, dealing with some of what we've heard from the Madlanga Commission, for example, given the fact that other witnesses would have appeared before the ad hoc committee, and when we hear the story in the Madlanga Commission, it has changed significantly?
We are currently finalizing our own report. We met last week and the week before last, and we're meeting this coming week to finalize the report that is going to be presented before Parliament. You would recall, Bongiwe, that our primary focus was essentially to look at what actions or failure or inactions that may have been taken, which compromise the legislation, the policy, and the laws of our country, which is a primary responsibility of Parliament and the National Assembly in this case. So we have noted that there are certain things that have now been revealed in the Commission of Inquiry, but we're quite comfortable because that report of the Commission of Inquiry, as was committed by the President, will ultimately land in Parliament, which will significantly complement the work that would be concluded by the ad hoc committee when it finalizes on report and recommendations.
In another matter, also that's playing out in Parliament, the Advocate Madonsela matter, for example, ANC MPs, abstaining when it comes to the vote for him to be the evidence leader. But now we see the President's objection that he provided the party with a legal opinion. That's one part of it. One could ask the question, because he also, Advocate Madonsela, canvasses this in his letter of response to say that the MPs that would have abstained don't simply reject him or disagree, but you can't read an abstention as them disagreeing. So one then would ask the question, can the ANC MPs afford to be sitting on the fence on such a critical matter? Why did they not just object outright if they objected to him at all?
Well, Bongi, we do not necessarily have to join all battles that are unfolding in portfolio committees. In this case, the evidence leader that was to be appointed by the impeachment committee, as you would know, is meant to deal with a matter that involves the president, who's the head of state, but also a president of the African National Congress. And we thought that we have no basis really to take side about whether it must be this or the other senior counsel who's considered to deal with the matter. Our own focus is that at an appropriate time, the impeachment committee will have to deal with its own work. And we do not want to really insert ourselves in what became a very big debate and contest between the proposal of one party as opposed to another in the impeachment committee. But ultimately, we knew that whether it's advocate, senior counsel, so-and-so, or senior counsel Madonsela or Hofmeyer, ultimately there will be somebody that is going to be responsible for that work. So it had nothing to do with what has now subsequently emerged as correspondences between Parliament, President, and Advocate Madonsela. We could have voted for him or voted for the other advocate whose name was competing against, but we took a position that this is neither here nor there. Our primary focus is that the committee must decide, and once it has decided, whoever is expected to do that work will have our support like any other person.
But the President right now is objecting. So what are we to read in the abstention? Are you saying that, the members that are serving in that impeachment committee are supporting him or not? What is the actual answer there?
No, the President has decided to exercise his own right on the basis of the relationship that once existed between him and Advocate Madonsela. And that relationship is between the President as a head of state and Advocate Madonsela. It has nothing to do with the study group of the ANC. So the study group of the ANC would not have known what was the nature and the character of that relationship at the time at which the matter was before Parliament. We are learning about it now as a post facto, when the decision of the committee has been taken and the President is now raising the matter as he has done. But it really has absolutely nothing to do with the position adopted by the study group at the time. I also don't think even now it should influence the way in which we deal with the matter as a study group.
So the study group did not even know about the opinion, the legal opinion that the president says that was provided to the ANC?
No, the study group was aware. Remember, the Secretary General of the ANC also wrote a letter to Parliament in which he informed the Speaker that Advocate Madonsela was engaged by the ANC to provide guidance on how to deal with the issues relating to the impeachment. But even on the letter from the SG was making a declaration as opposed to taking a position that, therefore, the ANC MPs are directed not to support or to vote for Madonsela's appointment. It was an information which is normally in the processing where we are appointing somebody legal to make declarations, and we are of the view that that was not an instruction to the ANC to either abstain or to support anybody. And the study group decided in its own wisdom that, look, there are no basis for us to entangle ourselves in the battle between the parties that were fighting for either Hofmeyer or Madonsela. Let's rather abstain, and whoever gets appointed in any case will work with the portfolio committee, and so is the study group of the ANC.
All right, I'm completely out of time, but I appreciate your time as always. That was the ANC Chief Whip Mdumiseni Ntuli. They're speaking to us about a number of issues, including the removal of Mark Burke from the Finance Committee, a story we are tracking for you here on the show. Quite significant implications that particular story could have, so we'll continue then to bring you more on it.